and I'm wiping it off. And what happens is sometimes it sticks together. So what you want to do is kind of go like this so you get the shape again. And some of the fan brushes are like this. They come in all different sizes. You know, some of them are thicker here. You see, mine is a little bit thinner. So I'm going to do it with both. I'm using my brush. I'll put that back. And then I'm going to use the student's brush. So once I fix it like this, I'm going to just pick up the paint on the edge of the fan brush. So you see how it's only on the edge? Okay, and I'm going to show you a couple of things. What I can do is, some students were doing, I guess, pointillism, which we talked a little bit about. If they were doing these paintings where they had these little dots, so you could do this, and I'll show you. You'll see that in like Seurat, right? A lot of these paintings where they have these kind of pointillism, little colors, and then you can go back. And even if I'm doing this, it happens to be in a red and in orange, but this could be in different color greens. And do you see how I could build up the texture of something if I was going to make this, you know, I can do it bigger, thicker. I'm doing it thicker now on this side. And this is a good way if I was going to build up leaves or something like that. You see, if I was going to make some kind of hill or a mountain or something, I could get those strokes in there real fast, and I don't have to do each individual stroke. It works much better, right? So I'll show you. Let's use a green. I'm only going to use a little bit. This is my student's paint, so you have to be careful here. And I'm just going to use a tiny bit of this green. And I'll show you for an example. And I love having this for when I want to work fast and I want to do it plein air outside. Sorry, I'm working a little bit backwards here. Trying to do this for you, backwards. But do you see how I'm kind of moving the brush, and I'm just moving it in all different directions? So I'm going like this, and I get this. And then I could go back, you know, with a different color green that I'm going to put in there, or maybe a yellow and a green. And I just build it up thick. And I could have, you know, another yellow green or another color in there, okay? And that's if I'm doing this. The other thing that I can do with the fan brush, so for pointillism or building things up, if I was doing like a tree or some leaves or something like that, the other thing that I can do is I can drag it across, and I can do it like I'm holding it here now. And I'm going to go like this, okay? And I have these loose strokes, and they're very soft. And sometimes I do that when I want to put a shadow at the same time, like say if I was doing water and the water's moving, you see how I can get the wash at the same time and the stroke? Yeah. Okay, so I'll show you with the blue here. Let's take a tiny bit of blue. Got a blue here. Okay, and I could have, let's use another color blue. A little bit blue here. It's a dot of it. I'm going to use a lot of the student's paint. And here, wiping it off again, and I'm going to pick up this blue, and I'm kind of going like this, you see? And I'm leaving this space. And if I want to, you know, pick up more blue, I'll do the stroke. I can do it a little bit thicker. But I always hold the brush like this, and I'm kind of fanning it. If I wanted the waves to be, you know, really kind of crazy, right, I could kind of do something like this. Sometimes you get this water that is very impressionist. You see I'm very erratic, and you can see the difference of how you would have all these different strokes. And then you can go back with the darker color and put it in here, and you can see, let's go with the lighter color now, and you can see how fast you can build up this area, you see, in a couple of minutes. I always do that when I'm on location, painting plein air. So anyway, you can leave these negative spaces and go back with it. You can also do something where you can do a wash first. So this is on paper, but it's better on the canvas, you see? And I get that wash consistent. You see how easy this is with the fan brush? And I can get this, and then I can go back again and do the waves if I wanted to on top. So there's or whatever I'm doing on top. So I have a lot of options. Let's do, a little bit more paint. I can put more pressure or whatever. So in other words, this can be used to leave the negative spaces in between and go back with another color, or put the wash on top and then go back and put these colors on top with these waves to build them up really thick. The other thing the fan brush can be used for are these kind of circular motions. So in order to do that, again, I have to get my brush back where it's okay. And I can pick it up, and I'll start here, and I go like this, and I do these like weird kind of, not weird, but these Van Gogh kind of, circle shapes. You'll see that in a lot of Impressionist paintings, they have these, you look at Starry Night and these things, and they have these, it's easy to drag the brush and to build up the paint on top of each other, and get that texture instead of trying to do the circle. You don't have a compass. You'll never make a mistake with the fan brush going around, and at the same time it's blending colors, but you can uniquely see that color. So you get a shadow at the same time, and you get the strong color underneath, and you can keep going, if you wanted smaller circles, or building this up, and the paint goes on top of each other, and it blends really nicely, okay? So it's another way of building it up. The other thing that the fan brush does, let's do this, is this. So I do a lot of abstract painting, and sometimes I want to get signature marks where I'm writing. It's a little bit different from this, where it's like kind of erratic, and I get this color fast. The other thing that the fan brush does is I can pick up, depending on how it separates, and I can do these little things. You see these little kind of shapes here? Sometimes I'm doing this, I'm going to do them again. When I'm doing houses, like if the roof, what do you say, of a building, right? And maybe this would be a brown or a light brown, and you can go back instead of doing all those squares, because doing the squares, it doesn't look super realistic. And if you look at this, it leaves that negative space in between, and you can go back with another color of brown and put that in, and it blends really nice. Where if you're doing these little squares, it becomes a little bit flatter, okay? And the other thing, let me see that picture of the bird.
It's behind you.
Okay, so we've got these like long, you could follow. The other thing is, I forgot to show you this. The other thing is you can pick up two colors at once in blending. So I'll show you how to do that. So let's say we're picking up a little bit of orange and this blue. And I do these strokes like this, and I can go back and I can pick up the blue. I'll do it like this for you here. So do you see how I get the orange and I can go back, and I have this orange and the blue and they blend. I do this, let me do it like this. I do this when I want to make leaves of grass, like say I'm making, we should really have a yellow here, but that's okay. Get the idea. And I can do all these little small strokes, and then I can go back, I could have a yellow and a green here, or blend it in another stroke in between there. It makes the, you don't have to go each individual stroke, it makes them fast. And you can see with these lines how you would pull this down. This could be done shorter. These could be these little short, lines. Like it's for an example on the bird where it's kind of like, there's these little small lines where they're curved here. And then if I have a small fan brush, these are down, and these could be dotted. So the other thing I want to show you, the last thing with the fan brush, so you can see it a little bit better. I didn't show it to you that well, is the mixing of two different colors. So say for example, we have a green, and then I'm picking up a little bit of yellow. You see how I picked up the green and the yellow? Like this, okay. So I have green, yellow, green, yellow. And I'm gonna do it again for you, and I'm gonna show you the difference. Do you see how that just naturally blends and comes out of the brush? And that looks like more like a blade of grass or something like that if I'm blending. So it's an excellent blender at the same time. And you can pick up, when I'm outside plein air painting, I use this, and if I see grass with 4 different colors, I'm there with the strokes, and everybody's like, how did you get that so fast? you know, and I'm using different size fan brushes, okay? So the fan brush also comes a little bit, let's use this one. It comes a little bit thicker, you know, and that's gonna make the strokes also the same, but just, I'll show you. We just have it, you know, this is beautiful for water. You see how I can just get this right away, okay? But, you know, if you have this kind of brush, you have to practice how you're gonna take up less paint to do these smaller strokes. You see how I'm sweeping it? Okay, and I'm just pulling out the stroke. And some of the strokes are light and some of the strokes are dark. I could also do this for this here, okay? So these are some of the marks. The other thing that we can do too is this kind of thing. So it's blending at the same time, putting the two colors on and just dabbing it. Remember I was showing you when I was blending with the round brush? If you push softer, you're going to get it really a soft kind of feeling, you know, where it's kind of blurry. And if you don't push as hard, you know, you're going to get this lighter kind of feeling. But you can have a yellow and you can blend those colors. Let's put a little bit of yellow on top so you can see what I'm saying. And the colors work really well. You can do it with watercolors, acrylics, or oils. Okay, so, you know. Okay, so you get the idea. Okay, so these are some things that you can do with the fan brush.